Boys and girls, Alex here with Mynd Property Management. We're talking about investing in Vallejo, real estate specifically. My guest today will help us unpack and share the wisdom with you, the viewers. My guest is Doug Brien. Doug, how are you?
I am good and excited to be here talking to you about Vallejo. I own a property in Vallejo myself, so I'm a big fan of Vallejo.
A property, well, that's very humble because, well, Doug, he's the CEO of Mynd, which is great in itself because we're a property management company, so we know a thing or two. But he's also more relevant, I think, for the Vallejo real estate investing realm. He is a founder and CEO of a company called Waypoint, which purchased 750 homes in Vallejo over the last decade or so. He's got a little bit of experience there. Today's topic, Doug, we're going to dig into the costs of property management. Let's demystify this subject. Let's dig into it. How do property management services are priced in Vallejo?
Yeah, so, in many markets, property management fees are expressed as a percentage of rent collected, but I think it's important for investors to know, at the end of the day, for many of the jobs associated with property management, it comes down there's a cost in dollars. So, a property management company is looking at the average rents in Vallejo and applying a percentage. On average, at least in the Bay Area, Vallejo has lower rents. And so as a result, you're going to see slightly higher percentages because a property management company just needs more dollars to get the work done and make a fair profit. So, it's a wide range, I would say, between you're talking about small residential, 30, 40 unit buildings and smaller. You're going to see anywhere from 5% to 10%. And it's really going to vary based on, how many units in the building. Is it a single family home? The quality of the neighborhood is going to be a factor in what your rents are. And so, lower rents, tougher area, going to end up being, single family, one unit, you're going to be up in that, 8 to 10%, but 5 to 10% on average.
How do you feel about when you are searching for a property management company yourself in the area where, say, Mynd does not manage? How do you feel about companies who publish pricing and companies who don't? I mean, most people don't publish pricing. Does that factor into your research? I mean, the last episode we filmed was all about how to find a property management company. For those of you watching, go to mynd.co, mynd.co, type in search Vallejo real estate, and you'll find the previous episode, which I think was very, very interesting on the criteria of evaluating property management companies. We didn't really get into price. Now is the price conversation. How do you feel about published price, non-published price? Do you care?
Yeah, I care. I think that property management fees are kind of an issue in real estate investing. And I'm a big believer in transparency and kind of just letting people know up front, like people should know what all the costs are. And, hidden fees is, I think, something that bothers us all. So I'm a fan of companies where I can just go online and look, cost is part of it. To me, it's not everything. And if you don't mind, I'd like to comment on that after I answer this question. Pricing is not everything, but I want to know what it is. And I want the company to be transparent about what it is, about what their pricing is and how it works. That's helpful for me to make a decision.
Now, what was your comment? What were you gonna add some color to it?
I think that a lot of investors get too hung up on what's the property management fee. And the thing that I like to say to investors is the most expensive property managers can be the ones with the lowest fee, right? So if you look at the expense structure of a building or a unit, property management is one line item. But there's other line items in your P&L that are much, much more impactful to your total return. For example, the rent that you get, the amount of vacancy that you experience, the amount of cost you incur around repairs and maintenance. If you don't have someone managing those three line items really, really well, your property management costs can be going through the roof. Now, it's not showing up in the property management line, but it's showing up in your bottom line profits. You're paying more because you have a lower rent, too high a vacancy, way too high of repairs and maintenance. But you're kind of like lured into thinking the property manager is the right one because that property management line item is cheap, right? So I think sometimes I would encourage investors to look at look, there's a range. And within those range, you're going to find some property managers that yeah, they're average or maybe even above average. But if you can actually look at documented results and talk to references that say, hey, these guys are reliable, they are responsive, they deliver results, it's worth paying another % or 2 in property management fee if they can get you $50 more in rent, or instead of 10% vacancy, you have 5% vacancy, or your repairs and maintenance are cheaper. So I think that's just a factor, and I would encourage people not to be overly focused on what the fee is, but to look at your overall cost structure and who's the partner that can deliver the best overall results.
Gotcha. So the recap, in Vallejo, expect to pay 5 to 10%, depending on neighborhood, your rent, the size of the building, that kind of stuff, 5 to 10% of rent. But there are other very, very important pieces to the puzzle, which we've covered in our previous episode. Again, we called How to Find a Property Management Company. Doug, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate the wisdom here. And those of you who are watching, hope you enjoyed it. Hope we helped you out. Thanks a lot. And we'll see you next time.